we do that. So today you'll learn more about what our expertise has been in the area of TrayLine and how we've helped solve challenges for people around the country with some of the experienced team, particularly Tony Yenzer and his staff that have done this for many years. So we thought we'd share our knowledge, and on this call today we'll get that message hopefully across and make ourselves available as a resource going forward to help you. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Tony Yenzer and Marcia Diamond.
Okay. And there we are. Today's program is the ABCs of TrayLine, and today we're going to talk about the meal delivery component of ABCs of TrayLine. First thing is, a lot of you came on today. What are you trying to achieve from your TrayLine? Are you trying to achieve hotter food, colder food for your patients and your guests, increased efficiency, increased speed? Do you want more on-time delivery? Do you want to maximize your footprint on the way you set up this TrayLine? Are you looking to reduce your capital expenditures for equipment and yet increase efficiency, increase speed, and maximize your footprint? Are you looking at ergonomically the workstation, safe, easy to use? Those are the kind of goals that you should keep in your mind as you go through this program today. What are you trying to achieve? What you need to get? What are your challenges? Before you start any TrayLine, some of the things you need to think about: are you doing a total renovation? Are you modernizing? Maybe you're just modernizing. You just want to update. Maybe your equipment is not up to date. It's not working. It's not giving you the efficiencies you need. Or you're just trying to retrofit into a certain space because you've changed meal delivery. So again, mapping out what your initiatives, and then thinking about your specifications, what you're trying to do. You know, sometimes we have the luxury of doing a total renovation or a new renovation. Those things should be lined down on a map, so as you move forward, you can consider that. Some other considerations before you start is, how are you trying to serve it? Is it a traditional or room service? That'll affect how the TrayLine will be configured. Are you looking at a cycle or set menu or a restaurant-style menu? How many menu items on? How many entrees? Again, that all goes into the alignment of that TrayLine. And most importantly, are you able to pre-plate something? Again, if you are, that consideration goes into what equipment you would put on a TrayLine, to the efficiencies, etc. So think about those things as you move forward in this program today, and those are the kind of ideas you should be considering when you are sitting down to review your TrayLine.
Good morning or good afternoon as well. I appreciate everyone's time and taking time out of their busy schedule to sit on this. Hopefully you'll have something that you can take away from today's webinar. The topic is the ABCs of TrayLines. Let's start off with a couple of the different styles of conveyors that are out there. Typically there's two different styles, a non-motorized, or what is commonly referred to as gravity, and a motorized. Let's first start with the non-motorized, our gravity style conveyors. There's three different kinds to choose from, or styles that you can choose from, and they're started with like a cantilevered, a skate wheel, and a roller conveyor. Each of these have a little different advantages and disadvantages. The cantilevered style conveyor actually rolls up to your counters, and with the 3-inch casters that they come with, can actually roll underneath your counter and cantilever it out over your product, over your counters themselves, thus creating really a cost saving and a saving, counter space saving style conveyor. The skate wheel style conveyor, 2-inch little nylon diameter, 2-inch diameter nylon rollers, low friction, free movement. This particular conveyor is great because it's easy cleaned. There's nothing obstructing you from cleaning up after you're done. You can get the rags right down in there and clean up, spray them down. The wheels themselves are bolted right to the conveyor, and once again, this is a gravity-fed conveyor. You just push the trays down and they roll simply. The next style that comes into this line is a roller conveyor. 2-inch diameter rollers on it that stretch across the width of the conveyor. These particular rollers are removable by a spring-loaded shaft that's in there. So if you need to remove them for cleaning, they're pretty easily removed. There's also options for this, the roller conveyor or the skate wheel, of removable sections that comes out in 20-inch sections that can easily go through your dishwasher as well. Now we can move on to some of the motorized style conveyors. Three different styles again in this particular line. You have the fabric belt, a band belt, and a slat belt style of conveyor. We'll start off first with the fabric belt. Out of all the motorized conveyors, this is the least expensive conveyor in the group. It is ideal for not only tray delivery or tray makeup, but it's an ideal conveyor for catering, where if you're actually placing the plates directly on the belt itself. This is, like I said, one of the least expensive of the motorized conveyors if you're wanting to go that route, but a very reliable one. And as we move on to the next style here, there is the band conveyor or band belt. This one just has basically 2-inch diameter urethane belts that run down there. It's like a gigantic rubber band, basically. It's a mid-priced one. Some of the issues I've heard about this particular conveyor, though, is once you get so many trays on there, the weight of the trays actually weigh down the bands, and they get some chattering and stuff like that. Just throwing that out there for your consideration, but this is the mid-price one, and if you're looking to go motorized, it's got its pros and cons. We'll move on to the next style conveyor, which is the slat belt conveyor. This is the most expensive, by far the best conveyor, though. It is actually chain driven versus the previous two that we saw were tension driven. In other words, there's just a belt that you pry back to get the right tension to make it move at the speed you're looking to go at. This one is actually chain driven. It has Lexan plastic tapered slats that can be replaced if damaged down the road. But as far as motorized conveyors go, this by far is the #1 conveyor that I would recommend if you're going to motorized. And we'll move on to the next slide. And we're talking about trays per minute. The gravity style conveyor, it's meant just like it says. It's gravity, and it can go down as fast as your crew can make up the trays and assemble them and push them down the line. It's kind of a great thing for if you have to replenish a hot food pan or something with the food, that it stops basically where it's at, and you're able to assemble it and move it down as it needs to go. The motorized one has an adjustable speed belt, and it's adjustable from 0 to 40 feet per minute on these particular conveyors. So there is a stop button that if you have to replenish the pans like we were talking earlier, someone has to actually stop the button and push the stop button, and that stops the entire conveyor, and then it has to get started up again. On this particular brand style, there is also a lever at the end of the conveyor that once the tray reaches the end of the conveyor, it actually hits a stop button so the trays don't start flying off the conveyor. Now let's try to figure out the typical space requirements for some of these type of conveyors and some of the bed counts that are out there. Now these are all just rules of thumb, and they're estimated. The estimations were made by actual drawings that we have done, and so this is just a pure estimation, something for you to consider as you're putting in. If you have like a 50 to a 75 bed facility, you're probably going to be working with an 8 to a 12-foot conveyor, and with its support equipment, you're probably going to be taking up at least 153 square feet of space required for that conveyor and its support equipment. If you're moving up in the bed count to 100 to 200 bed, now we're talking between a 10-foot and a 14-foot conveyor, along with all of its support equipment. You're probably going to be using in the area or required of 288 square feet of space required for that particular conveyor and its support equipment. We go to the 200 to 350 bed. There is a 14 to 20 foot as it starts progressing up in the bed count, and that actually has a requirement of approximately 294 square feet. Now, when you get into the 400 bed to 500 bed, basically 20 is probably the minimum you're going to be able to do, so we're looking at a 20 to a 24-foot conveyor, and along with its support equipment, we're probably using 350 square feet. Now, if you go above the 500 bed and you get into that 600 bed type facilities, you may want to consider the two different tray carts and 2 different lines. With that particular style, you can also utilize some of the same support equipment between the tray lines to utilize both the air curtain refrigerators and maybe some of the other products that we have going down the list. We'll move it on to the next slide. And we've got to ask ourselves the question, in what way does your equipment and overall layout save you labor cost and create operational efficiencies? Some of the next following slides we'll show you will actually show you in a drawing itself of how that's obtained. TrayLine assembly equipment should be situated in a work area that you can minimize the reach and the step that the employees need to take, and to have access to the support equipment using the lean concepts. Slimline style equipment can be installed, and this provides some of the best ergonomic efficiencies that are out there, and we'll show you that in a couple of the upcoming slides of how you can arrange those along with regular equipment to perform L shapes and U shapes style workstations. This is basically what I just explained. If you combine this L slimline unit, it's 19 to 20 inch wide, so the reach across it to get to the conveyor is easily reached to the conveyor. And if you farm that up with a standard hot food well, you can either create an L or a U-shaped workstation, and it really does create an ergonomic and an efficient workspace. Here's an example of one drawing that we had done for a job, and if you can count the number of people on there, there's like 7 employees required to work this line. The space requirement for this particular drawing was like 28 feet long by 15 feet wide, and this was only a 400-bed facility. And if we move on to the next slide, we can show how just rearranging some of the equipment can utilize at least one less person and still get more hot food wells capability out of it. Move on to the next slide, please. Now this is a 400 to 500 bed facility on this one. And as you can see, we used the little slimline counters between the hot food counters to create that U or that L-shaped workspace that we were referring to. And if you saw the previous picture there, they actually had that, you almost have to have that much area between the workstations anyway to allow the worker to work the area. So by putting a slimline counter up against the conveyor, you've created now a very central workstation for the employee that makes it very simple for him to work. And we also, if you look at the beginning of the tray line, you have the starter station where the employee there has the tray, the inductions, the domes, all the placemats, and all the other equipment all the other supplies need to go on the trays. Right there in front of them, there's no bending, no turning, no spinning. Great work area and very ergonomic. If you go up to the top of the drawing here, we show the air curtains. You have 2 people working your air curtain supplies. A total of 4 air curtains on this one, and basically you got 2 for replenishment and 2 that he's working on a constant basis. And we have on the other side of him, we have the guy that can actually follow up with the cold food products coming out of the air curtain refrigerator, as well as doing the coffee and all the other hot beverages coming out. So in this particular drawing, it was an actual job that we worked closely with a consultant on. They had a different style of conveyor in there before. They supplied us with the drawing of the area space that they had in there. We sent them back this particular drawing, and they loved it and went with it right off the bat just because it actually used up less space than what they had with a circular style conveyor. We can go to the next. We're going to repeat a whole bunch of things a lot of times throughout this webinar here. Use of vertical space. Starter stations. We have two different styles. There's two different styles out there, straddle style and cantilevered, that actually make a very good workstation. Everything's above them, easy reached. All the supplies, all the utensils, all your diet kits and everything can be placed right on here. One can straddle your conveyor that can actually put the tray dispensers, or whether it's a wax-based heater or an induction system, all can be mounted right underneath or located right underneath that, as well as straddling the conveyor. Or you can actually use the cantilevered style that you can roll up over the conveyor and still have access and reach to all of these. Once again, use that vertical space. Saves a lot of space for the footprint of your design. There's a couple other things as we're going to use to talk about using the vertical space. On the conveyors, there's options out there for overshelves. I mean, this is a 12-inch wide stainless steel shelf mounted on top of the conveyor for that additional work area and storage area. And this, once again, is creating more storage and not using any additional foot space or floor plan on this. Use talking vertical again, air curtain refrigerator versus a cold food counter. If you have the ability, like we were talking earlier, to have some pre-plated salads and some of your other pre-plated foods, air curtain refrigerators are an ideal space. On the cold food counter, for example, you're talking, in this particular one, it's almost like a 60-inch long by 30-some inch wide unit that you're going to be having, as opposed to basically a 30 by 30-inch type of air curtain refrigerator. Utilize the vertical space. Smaller footprint, uses that vertical space. Less steps are required, and it's a lot more efficient. There's other options that you can put on conveyors to make things cleaner, safer, and just a nicer workstation. We have there's opportunities to put an electrical chaseway or electrical raceway under the conveyors. This electrical raceways are typically supplied with all the wiring, all the electrical outlets. When we do drawings down here, we actually will tell you exactly what support equipment is going on. You tell us what support equipment is going on, and we'll add up the amp loads and all the voltages requirements for these. We'll put in the correct outlets. So these things are all pre-wired, pre-assembled. The only connection that would have to be made by an electrician is the one-point connection right up front there, where it has a breaker box, a panel box with breakers in it to support all your outlets. So instead of all the drop cords that are hanging all over the facility, all over your layout, this is a much cleaner, simpler, and safer style of presenting your tray line. Space, if it's a real issue. This is an actual job that we did as well. We went through probably 4 or 5 different drawings before I actually went to the facility to see this one. Very small, tight facility requirements that they had, and we ended up putting the conveyor on top of your counters. This is almost the same height and distance as a regular typical overhead shelf would be, but it allows you to either put the rollers or the skate wheels in there to have a free movement of the trays down there and not worry about trays falling off because you were just sliding them down an overhead shelf or something. The space that was required by this was very minimal, and as you can see, it was a small facility, so a little room service type of facility. So this is a great idea if you need to go into a smaller facility or room service. You might want to consider putting the conveyor on top of the counters. Next slide, please. I'm going to put a couple sample drawings out there for you to review, and these are available at any time for anybody that would like to see some sample layout drawings. You can contact me at tyenzer@alluserv.com to get these. But if we'll move down, and we'll repeat that at the end of seeing some of these drawings. First drawing we were talking about the cantilever style conveyor. Well, this is a application where They had a long area, but they didn't have a very wide area to put the support equipment in. So this was an ideal application for a cantilever style conveyor. Everything rolled up right over the counters. The actual depth requirement of this was less than 10 foot, and the overall length came out to be 24 just because of the bed count they had. But once again, very ergonomic workspaces, minimal turning, minimal steps. Everything's right in front of them, and they can roll right down and put the product straight into the tray delivery cart. Off it goes. The next one, 50-bed wax space application. You'll start seeing a common theme of almost all these drawings, and it was intentional that we picked them out like this. There's no right way or wrong way, but there's ideas that you might think of when you go to design your conveyor layout. But once again, everything was done with a straddle-style starter station, tray dispenser right in front of them, wax base off to one side, and the underliner racks directly behind them, followed by the person attending the hot foods. There's a slim line with another standard unit, creating an L-shaped workstation, minimal walking, very ergonomic. Same type of, up in the top, we have the air curtain refrigerator, where one person can actually handle all the cold products going on the tray, as well as the hot products coming off the coffee stand, the coffee urn. Next slide. Here we go, an induction plate application. This was designed around a very small facility, and it came to us that it takes them about 10 to 15 minutes to deliver the trays to the patients. They had minimal space to work with, so when we planned out, this one was probably 2 or 3 drawings in the workings just because of not knowing where it needed to be. And the reason this one came out versus a pod system or something similar to that, it was because this particular facility's area where they were actually doing the plating was pretty far away from the actual the kitchen area where they make the products, and they had a small room to work with. So in this particular one, it's an induction plate system setup. You have the tray dispenser, straddle-style starter station, and everything's all in easy reach, minimal steps for this guy to work with. Come down to the hot food counters, and there we go again with the slim line and the standard product to make an L shape. In this particular case, the bottom box down there was actually a heated cabinet because they were so far away, like I said, from the main kitchen area. They wanted to have a cabinet there for anything they needed to replenish the hot food wells. Up the top again, we got the air curtain refrigerator. The one man can do both products, creating a nice workstation for him. And then you have the checker who basically put the dome on the product and into the tray cart, and away it went. This is the one that we saw earlier. This is a 500-bed facility that, like I said, the consultant came out and asked us, can you give me any recommendations for a facility that has 500 bed count? They were currently using a circular conveyor that was broken down, and it just didn't fit the needs out there. We put in this design for them, and they absolutely loved it. And that was one thing where we showed that we not only work with the end users, but we work with consultants. We have the capability here, the ability here to take a drawing from the consultant with the overall footprint or layout of the room available, and we can actually drop in our products and work directly with the consultant and the end user as far as their layout design. We can go into a induction. This is like a 200 to 300 bed facility. All the same applications on it, a little different design in that they wanted to go with not only a tray dispenser, but they wanted the silverware over the tray dispenser. So that one was set out to the side. This was one that wasn't truly recommended, but this is the way the end user wanted it, and it made good sense because it's still keeping the guy with very small footprint, very few steps, and everything's directly in front of them, not too much bending and lifting. Hot food counters, though, again, went into that U-shaped style, again, using the slim line and the standard style hot food counters, along with the plate heater directly behind them. Once again, makes it a very good ergonomic workstation for them. The cold food counters, this right here, to have 2 air curtain refrigerators, you probably would have had to have 2 or 3 cold food pans, or at least capability of renewing them to get the capacity what these guys have in the air-cooled refrigerators. A lot of facilities do want to use the ice cream freezers yet. That's still an option out there, ice cream and milk products down the line, or juices. But this is a typical layout, and this is not only recommended straight from the end user. It was something that fit into their design and the way they like doing the tray makeup. The only suggestions we did change on this is what we did talk them into that U-shaped type workstation for the hot food counters, and they loved that one. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Marcia, and I appreciate everybody's time, and hopefully you've taken away something from this particular webinar today. Any questions or anybody that wants any additional drawings, you can contact me at tyenzer@alluserv.com, and we'd love to share them with you. Marcia?
So, yes, and I got some questions already about PowerPoint and the recording, and you will be able to get that. That will be sent probably in early next week. But in addition, I want you to think about, do you see yourself in any of these kind of settings? Does anything resonate with you? I mean, even if you have a decentralized service option, one of the questions is that you'd have to consider a TrayLine conforming to that, and then on the floors have your pantry set up accordingly. So there are ways to adapt depending on what you need, and Tony Yenzer has a whole library of different layouts and can personalize it depending on your needs, whether you're doing room service delivery, what your challenges are, and so configure that. Being this was the ABCs of TrayLine, we wanted to give you an overview of the types of equipment that incorporate themselves into the TrayLine from the plating component to the end, and some ways to think about how you can use space, how you can consider your temperature controls, safety, ergonomics, and some efficiencies. Again, thinking about these ideas and making sure that they resonate with you. Is your TrayLine today giving you the temperature controls? Is your TrayLine safe? Are the wires on the floor? Is it aesthetically pleasing to your team? In addition to being safe, aesthetics plays a role in morale and increasing productivity. So looking at those ergonomics, those efficiencies, take a look at what you have today, see how you can improve it or how you can improve upon what you have, or if you're in the situation where you're renovating or retrofitting, here's an opportunity. You will have this PowerPoint so you can be able to look through it. Questions may occur, and we probably won't have time. Maybe we'll take one or two at the end, but if we don't have time to take questions, please send your questions in either through the webinar as you're speaking, and we'll gather those, or send them to marcia.diamond@gmail.com or tyenzer, Y-E-N-Z-E-R, @alluserv.com, and we will post those on the website as well. We will have, again, the website will have that PowerPoint, and you'll be able to get the recording of this as well. Hopefully you walk away with thinking about the ABCs, the basics of TrayLine. And as time moves on, we will have some 102, the next steps of how to do it. But today was about learning and educating you on the basics of that. Please keep your eye out for some others if you've enjoyed this. There's a form and function, how to achieve balance, which will be done by a designer with retail food operations, how to maximize increased revenue. And we have a food service director who's now a consultant who's approached her CEO so many times to get capital and has been so successful that she's willing to share some of that with us. So we're very grateful for that. So sign up for some new webinars. CEU credits are available as well as certificate of participation with that.
In closing, one of the things that we wanted to make sure that we left you with is that the picture on the page that you see is really what we founded this company about, is just to make sure that we stay focused on the issues that you're facing in your jobs, and hopefully we can provide resources for you as we go forward. But one way we're going to do that is on our website we've created a collaboration place. We've created Twitter and LinkedIn connections, so a lot of social media effort to create a collaboration, create a community that folks can come to, look for resources, put challenges out there, and share amongst yourselves. We saw that as a need in the industry, so we were and have set up our website to be just that tool for you. Next slide, Marcia. And that is the homepage. It's the place where Tony's work and the work that we'll be doing in the future on our seminars and our webinars. But beyond just the healthcare, we also will be putting resources out there and have already put resources out there for you and your team. We've gotten great feedback about that, and we'll continue to give you maybe some eye-opening, different focus, ways to change it up and not just be centrally healthcare, food service related, but also retail, commercial space, things that are going on in different parts with managing people. So it goes well beyond just equipment. While we are an equipment provider, we felt it was more important to connect and share with you all the things that we learn in our work and the experience that we have, and then connect that to solving problems rather than just showing you equipment and talking about what equipment can do for you. So that's the difference in Alluserv. Our catalogs are now available for you to look at on the equipment side, but you'll find a unique difference in them, and that is us asking questions and offering our expertise to you and not just showing you equipments and specifications. So we are looking to be different and really looking to join up and collaborate with this industry. There's a lot of great people out there that have a lot of knowledge, and we encourage you all who are on this call to be a part of that, and we will share your knowledge with your peers, which is what this is all about today. So thank you all.
We do have a few moments for some questions. If you want to take, Tony, do you want to take some questions, or should we just post them?
I'd like to have them posted. So, like I said, if somebody has the exact same question, we can share with everybody.
Okay, because I have a list of some questions here. Okay.
Sure. We'll take a few questions as long as we have some time. We want to make sure that we pay attention to our time as well, so we'll get you done well before an hour. So, you want to take a few questions, Marcia?
Yes, if you want to send in any questions, I have a few that some people send in. With the slim line steam table, have there been reports of employee injury due to the reach required to put the plate on the tray line?
No. Like I said, the 19-inch or 20-inch dimension width of the steam table is adequate enough that I've never heard of any problems with anybody getting hurt.
And a question was asked about decentralizing option, using mobile carts to display and serve tray foods on the floor. How does that affect your tray line? How does, the components of having a tray line with a decentralized option of service instead of doing everything in the kitchen, sending up bulk?
Those are, like I said, those are unique questions and situations. If we're talking about something that you can actually have a combination of standard tray delivery as well as late trays type stuff, there's products out there that can address that. And if someone has a particular need, just for them to contact me, and we can point them in the right direction as to what products might be best to handle that situation.
And one question was asked, how would you modify the tray line to be most efficient for a room service operation?
One of the last slides we had there is kind of what we were talking about there is there's pod systems out there, and depending on where your kitchen area is located versus where you can do tray makeup, once again, every particular application is a little unique. And same thing as I said before, if they could let us know, contact me, let me know some of the details and as to how far away their centralized kitchen is away from their tray makeup area. There's different suggestions that we can give them.
So based on space, based on their number of employees they're using, based on their menu items, those would affect that, correct?
Those also affect it as well, correct.
Okay. A question was asked, so the same question is, to setting up pod systems, it would be the same components depending on how to configure a pod tray line.
A pod typically would not have the tray line in there. That's where you're basically setting up a hot food table and your induction plate heaters, or your plate heaters and your induction counters. And typically it's like a hot food table that has an overhead shelf that they plated up, place it on top of the shelf almost like you're at a restaurant, and from there the person on the other side of the table grabs it, puts it on the induction charger, and makes the rest of the tray up with the cold products coming out of the air curtain refrigerator and domes on it, and away they go into a room service cart.
What do you think about circular tray line?
Don't think that much of them in most cases because the space that they take up, that's for example, we've replaced a couple of them out there just because of the space requirements that they usually use.
So there's more efficient ways between the air curtains, there are more efficient ways and speed to get food out in a large operation without using that footprint.
Correct.
Okay. So I think
and
that's...
typically all the circular conveyors are typically band conveyors as well. And there again you have the issue of too much weight down on the bands. So there's a couple of different issues with circular conveyors.
Okay, and we will answer the rest of the questions online. You will be getting a copy of this, and I hope you enjoyed the ABCs of TrayLine today. Thank you for your time.